I know, we were just talking before cameras started rolling that it's been 7 seasons and you've never watched an episode.
No, still haven't.
But you're filled in, you know what's going on, you lived it.
Yeah, I mean, 1, I lived it.
Yeah.
2, like we were talking about, if something happens in an episode or someone says something in a confessional, I mean, Shane's going to tell me. Or Gina's another one. She'll be like, oh my gosh, and she'll text me. Or, I mean, I do flip through Instagram. Sure. So, you know, I mean, I'm going to see it.
You lived it, you see it, you're good.
Right.
You are good. But it's been a tough season so far. We're only a couple episodes in, but a lot has gone on in your life since we last caught up with you at the reunion, especially with your son, Luke. How's he doing?
You know, he's really, really good right now. Good. That is because I feel like 2 of the major stressors that he was dealing with at that time was me filming.
Okay.
And it was school. And he was really struggling with both of those. So where we're at right now, it's summer. We've eliminated the filming and we've eliminated him being in school. Okay. So he's doing well. Shane and I are also working really hard at parenting him differently than we do the other children, and you know, trying to learn as much as we can about him and what he's dealing with. Yeah. But I am concerned because I know he's going to go back to school in August, and then unless they fire me, I'll probably start filming again. And so those are 2 things that he really struggled with this year.
Sure. So. Yeah. Do you struggle with the fact going back to filming then?
I do, but I feel like maybe Shane and I can preemptively do better because we didn't know it was going to affect him so much. So we just kind of went into it and just started filming like normal. And then he has a really hard time with the filming because it's not structured. And he doesn't know when I'm going to be gone and when I'm going to come home. And even when you try to tell him, you know how it's organic, it changes. Sometimes it's not, sometimes it's 3 times a day, sometimes it's a trip. And he had a really hard time grasping that, and it really bothered him. So I'm thinking going into it that we can preemptively prepare him for it better, talk about it, work through it, maybe have a calendar or something that helps.
Sure, and you can set more boundaries. What's good for you and what's good for your family, right? You know, well, it was so heartbreaking to watch your conversation with Gina in the car. And as a mom, you know, you look for every single sign. You always want to be on top of everything, but sometimes you don't know because you don't have that information. What was it like kind of going through this on camera, having to, you know, talk about this and do it in real time too?
You know, that's interesting you said real time because that's what I've said that was so hard for me was a lot of times on the show, we're being open and honest about our lives, but we're reflecting on things that happened in the past. You know, I mean, just for example, Jen talking about her divorce. Well, we don't see her divorce in real time. We just hear her talking about it in a narrative. This was happening in real time for me. So when I'm talking, I'm in it. And I don't know if I say the right things. I don't know. I just know that I was emotional. I just know that I was conflicted. I just know that I was struggling at home. And, you know, we were just trying to navigate through it. And that's all I knew what to do. And, you know, talking about something deeply personal about my child with Gina, that was a real conversation because she is someone that I would share that with. And a lot of times when I'm talking to Gina, I don't even remember that we're on a show or that there's a camera in her car because we spend so much time together, not on camera. So a lot of times my brain doesn't differentiate between on camera, off camera. I'm just talking to someone that's literally my best friend in my life. And so, you know, I was sharing with her and it was very emotional for me. And it was also emotional because as moms, you know, I was like, is this something I should have picked up on? Should I have taken him to a specialist years ago? There were certain signs. There were times that I was like, you know, and then I would just kind of brush it off and be like, no, he's fine. He's fine because he's very verbal and no one at school. I mean, he's in public school and no teachers ever said anything to me. And so I was questioning my own parenting and my own awareness as a mom. And, you know, I've had so many moms reach out to me. I mean, thousands.
I know, I saw your Instagram post. I'm sure this probably helped, like you said, it probably helped you more figuring this out with everybody else that's been going through it, right? And what did you kind of learn from that?
You know, I had so many people reach out and say, have you had your son tested for pandas?
I don't even know what that is.
I'd never even heard of it before. It stands, I couldn't even tell you what it stands for right now, but I mean, it's an acronym. It stands for something. But then I researched it and I was looking at all the symptoms, and he literally had every single symptom. So Shane just took him to the doctor yesterday.
Okay.
And so we're working through that right now to see if maybe that is an option. But that was not something I heard from a therapist, from a doctor. This is from Bravo.
Sure.
Like from the women, the mothers, the people out there sending me messages. So I've learned more and gotten more support and felt more heard from this community than for months of just feeling completely alone.
I mean, what a gift, right?
Yeah.
Like, it really is. So do you have an idea of what his diagnosis is? I know that this is obviously very emotional, and I couldn't imagine what you're going through as a mom, and just watching your child suffer. You want all those answers immediately.
Right.
So where are you in that testing process? I know maybe you said that he might be diagnosed with autism. Obviously, the avoidant food intake.
Right. We do know that he definitely has RFID, which is the eating. And you know, I also have to say, I've had some people say negative things and about the eating disorder.
Okay.
And you know, they'll make a correlation between me having surgery or me losing weight. This has nothing to do with a child wanting to lose weight or having a body image. This is a neurodivergent disorder that has to do with his brain and how he operates. It has nothing to do with me and you know, losing weight or gaining weight. So we know there's definitely the RFID. That's what we're dealing with. The RFID has a lot of symptoms that overlap with autism. So we did take him to a specialist to be tested. He did some very extensive testing. That comes up later in the season. You know, I'm still not really clear on a lot of things. He's very complicated. I learned that. And I think we're just working through all these different idiosyncrasies that he has and trying to be the best parents for him. And at the end of the day, a school counselor told me this because I have to work very closely with his school. And she said, Emily, you know, it's not always good to just put a label on something. So if you're looking for that, because I feel like we're looking for that. Like I want a label so that I can tell people, oh, you know, he has this, this, and this. And at the end of the day, I don't know if that's the best thing. He is what he is, and he's very complicated.
And then, like you said, you had to kind of shift your parenting style
I've had
too.
to completely parent him differently than the other kids.
Okay, and what has that been like for you? And I know that's been a topic of conversation between you and Shane. It obviously put a lot of strain on your relationship as well.
I would say I'm more of the disciplinarian, and so I get very frustrated with Luke because he was very different than the other children, and it was kind of like, why aren't you conforming? Why aren't you listening? Why aren't you doing like what the other kids do? And I had to learn through therapy that his brain works completely differently, and that you can't raise your voice, you can't get frustrated, you can't get upset, you can't be mad, that you really have to do a lot of things that are very calming for him. So even when his behavior might not be the best, instead of getting upset and punishing, you have to embrace and nurture and calm him. And that wasn't something, obviously, I did with the other kids, because if they're throwing a tantrum or acting out, it's like, okay, well, you're going to go in timeout, or that doesn't work with him.
And so how do you do that as a mom? Because sometimes, you know, people like will just go into like the bathroom, scream it out, and then go back and then calmly do it, you know?
It's very hard for me because that wasn't my first reaction when kids are acting out, is to nurture them. And that wasn't Shane's first reaction either. And so we together had to learn through therapy that he needed calming, you know, so I've learned to go on a walk with him when he starts to, you know, get stuck in a behavior. Shane's been so much better with him. He's learned how to parent him better, and they have a really close bond now. So a lot of the separation anxiety between him and me has lessened because now he's very close to Shane. So it's just, you know, and every day I have to remind myself,
day by day,
don't get frustrated with him. Don't raise your voice. You have to be calm with him. And it's a reminder. And I'm not always perfect.
No, of course, you're human.
And Shane will be like, Emily, like you have to, like you can't be like that with him. And I'm like, you're right. And I have to take a step back. And then, you know.
You said you almost quit this season, though, during it, right?
I did. I had conversations with Shane. And it wasn't because of the show. I mean, obviously, I love the show and I love the producers and everything. It was more of just me going to Shane and saying, is this healthy for our family? Because Luke was having so much separation anxiety every time I left that I was having trouble. I felt like I was struggling doing my job, and I don't want to say job because I mean we're filming, but Luke would call me and text me constantly and beg me to come home, and I just thought it was really hard for me because I thought, should I just be home with him? And I had to have conversations with Shane where I was like, well, maybe I should just say I can't. I need to take a step back. I need to step away. And he said, I understand that, and if that's what you want to do, I'll support you, but you have to remember that you can't lose yourself. And if you weren't doing this, you'd probably be practicing law. So would you quit that and not be a lawyer because, he's very needy right now? And he said, no, you would still do that, and we would find ways to work around it. So when he said that made sense, because a lot of times with the filming, we don't think of it as like a career.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's like, you're making TV. Sure. I don't know, but then when you put it in a perspective, like, if you were an attorney, would you quit? And I was like, well, no, because I don't want to lose me and my identity in this. Sure. And I think that would be bad for him too.
Of course.
For me to just be home with him 24/7. I mean, he has to learn how to cope with me leaving and coming back, and Shane leaving and coming back. Yeah.
Do you want a second?
No, I'm okay.
You okay? No, it's a heavy.
Yeah.
It's something very heavy that you're going through. It really is. And when it's kids, it brings it to a whole other level. It really does. Did you notice? Did it just get progressively worse throughout the course of this past year?
It did. We always knew. I mean, at first it was like, wow, he's really a picky eater, and he kind of has these behavior issues. And then it was, okay, this isn't picky eating. I realized that it was beyond picky eating when I went to. His class had a Thanksgiving feast, and they invite the parents, and everybody brings, it's like a potluck. And I went to his class, and all the kids had a big tray, and they tried all these different foods, and he sat there the entire time and did not take one bite of anything, and it broke my heart. I sat there as his mom, and and then I felt like everyone was staring at me, like, why isn't your kid eating? And then I got very self-conscious, and it was just very hard. And that was when I went home and I told Shane, I was like, this is beyond, like, he's just a picky eater. Like, this is an issue.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I think when I started filming just me being home with him all the time, but then going into being gone a lot, that switch, it triggered something. Yeah. And just a lot of all these issues that we'd had before, but I think were kind of maybe spread out, just kind of all just came out all at one time, and it was daily, and it was intense.
But it seems like you and Shane and even Luke are doing so much work to get to that place where you can kind of figure everything out. And I hope you get all the answers that you need. And luckily that, like you said, the Bravo community is there to help too, which I think is so wonderful.
I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, and you and Shane are good, right? Because you see in the trailer, you drop the D word,
right? And that's how I felt in that moment, because I just talk from my heart. And whatever's going on, and we were just misfiring as far as parents, and I felt like he wasn't understanding the gravity of it, and maybe I was making it too much, and probably together we were a nice blend, but we were definitely on polar opposing sides as to what was going on.
Yeah, but I'm glad you guys are in a better place now.
I mean, going to therapy together has been,
Has it?
Yeah.
Well, how would you say that's kind of like opened your eyes, just gives you kind of the floor to put it all out there?
Because the therapist obviously understands Luke and how his brain functions, and Shane and I don't. Yeah. So just to sit there and listen to someone say, all these things going on around us, like noises and sounds and stuff that we can drown out, like he can't. Everything is very intense in his brain, and that's what he feels all day long. And that's why he has so much anxiety. And it was just understanding him and understanding that he needs to feel connections with me and Shane, and just learning a lot of things that I had no idea about.
Sure. Did everything else feel so mundane this season than all the other drama?
It was. There were times when, there were so many other arguments or people were upset, and I'm just, I'm sitting there like, I hope my kid eats something.
Sure, right. Yeah. Do you feel like everybody was there for you this season?
Yeah,
or kind
absolutely.
of understood? Yeah.
I mean, I have, a very strong relationship with Gina. Everybody knows that. And Heather was amazing, just because I respect her so much as a mother. She's such a great mom.
Yeah.
And, her kids are also diverse and have all different things going on. So I feel like she's also just, anytime I have a parenting question, I go to Gina and I go to Heather.
Sure. Did you not even want to deal with the whole Katie drama then this season?
I didn't deal with with it. I mean, the first episode is basically I said what I said, and then after that, I don't think I have any other interaction with her.
Really? So, did you make it a point just not to kind of interact with her this season?
You know, I had so much going on with my kids, and the kids was a root of a lot of issues with her. So I just removed myself from that.
Do you feel like she just kind of self-sabotaged herself? Because she said like in this past episode that it was either eat or be eaten. That's kind of the mentality that she had. Did you ever feel that way after your first season?
No, I felt like I need to be friends with these women.
Sure, yeah.
And that's where I don't understand her mentality because I don't feel like it's difficult to stay on this show. I think as long as you're honest and authentic and you say what you think and feel on camera, not off camera, on camera, and you try to build relationships with the other women, then, I mean, that's staying power.
Sure.
And she doesn't do either of those.
Do you think that she completely misfired with the whole Shannon filming her? Is that kind of the beginning of the end of Katie?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think people were starting to realize that she does a lot of things that are deceptive. Yeah. And then, you know, here's the thing. I've seen Shannon freak out. I mean, I've known her for 7 years. Let's say a good 3 freakouts a year. I mean, that's like 21 freakouts.
Right.
I mean, not one time have I felt compelled to take out my phone and film her for purposes of showing other people or talking about it or whatever. So, you know, I think that's such a breach of trust and an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, I mean, Shannon says, like, you're worse than Alexis Bellino. Do you agree with that?
No, I do. Yeah. I would take Alexis any day over Katie. Well, because Alexis is like a Labrador. Like, she's a ding dong, but it's like to your face. You know what I mean? I mean, Katie's like the kind of person that you don't know what she's doing behind closed doors. And that's scary.
That's scary because you can't trust, you can never probably trust her again. No,
absolutely
And
not.
you probably don't want to.
No.
Do you feel like there's any way for her to kind of get herself back in this group? Or would you be surprised if she was even back again?
No. I don't see any way other than, I mean, I can clearly see that she's trying through Tamra, but
sure, it's probably not going to work out so well. Did you miss Alexis this season?
You know, I don't have hard feelings towards Alexis. I think that she went wrong in a lot of things that she did, and I think Alexis, if she self-reflects, probably understands that she did do things. She could never pivot. Yeah, that's the part that I was like, just pivot. Yes, just pivot. Like, I understand you feel the way you do, and I understand you're obsessed with John, and you think he's the greatest thing ever, and I understand you think Shannon's the villain and all this. I get it. That's valid. But, like, you have to pivot at some point, and she just never could.
Never could.
No.
You invited to the wedding?
Oh, absolutely not. But, I mean, if she invited me, I wouldn't go. I would hurt Shannon's feelings. I would never do that.
Were you rooting for Shannon to find love on the Love Hotel? Did you meet Earl?
No, I did meet Earl.
Okay.
Yeah, I met him a couple times. I met him and I thought, this is not Shannon's type. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Well, hopefully she finds somebody else. And then obviously Gretchen is back after a decade plus of not being on the show, and it seems like her and Tamra are pick up exactly where they left off.
Yeah, not a lot of growth there.
Not a lot of growth there. But you said that your relationship with Tamra actually kind of suffered because you were friends with Gretchen at one time.
Yeah, I would say when I first started on the show 8 years ago, I think Tamra didn't know that she could trust me as a friend because I knew Gretchen, I was friendly with Gretchen. And obviously Gretchen was telling me terrible things about Tamra, so that wasn't helpful either.
Sure.
But I mean, Tamra and I are in a good place. I've known her for almost a decade now, and I've filmed multiple seasons with her without Gretchen around. So I think she knows that. I felt like I was very fair with both of them this season. I felt like I paid attention to what they were both saying. I listened to both of them. I told them when I thought they were wrong. I told them when I thought they were right. And I feel like I was fair to both.
Did you see a lot of growth in Tamra this season? Obviously she's in therapy.
There were instances where I thought, oh, okay, like this is a different Tamra. I feel like she's taking accountability. Like this is different. But then she would regress. Yeah. And then you're like, there she is.
Yeah. We knew you were still in there.
Yeah.
It seems like she does have a tough season though, because there was reports that she quit the show. Obviously there was a lot going on with Teddy, still is. What was that kind of like to navigate the season?
Well, I felt terrible for her about what was going on with Teddy. I mean, I can't imagine, because I know Teddy to her is like Gina to me. Sure. So if I had to film a season and Gina was going through what Teddy did, I would be a mess as well. And so Tamra reached out a lot. We talked about Teddy a lot because I know Teddy, and I think it was difficult for her to navigate. And I also think Teddy is someone that I don't think Tamra's had a lot of really deep connections with other women, and I think Teddy's probably one of the first. And, you know, I think it was really difficult for her to navigate that. So I felt like we all kind of understood, you know, maybe the erratic behavior.
Sure. Yeah, lots going on.
Yeah.
Invited to Jen's wedding?
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, Jen and I are good. Yeah.
Jen. Well, it's going to be a roller coaster of a season. Lots of trips we have planned. I'm excited for New Orleans, Amsterdam.
Right. Yep.
There's definitely some high moments, I would imagine, as well.
And there's a third trip in there, too.
There's a third trip. Okay, there's another one.
Yeah, like a small one.
Okay, they got you girls moving this season. Yeah.